You gotta love how you think you're not gonna do anything in the garden. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do a few things, clean up, and then you end up planting stuff. I planted some catnip, got my garlic planted, cover crops are done. I got some chamomile seedlings in there. I spread some poppy. So even I just said, oh yeah, I'm gonna rest for fall. Doesn't leave any room for rest. And this year, my garden was telling me it needed rest because of, I could tell from all the pest pressure and the soil just kind of getting depleted, and I needed the break. I am resting, but gardener's gonna garden. Before I get into this fall garden tour, we are just now finally dropping into the mid 80s and a low of 70s, so I have to kind of set the mood and cosplay fall here. Let's make an astragalus chai latte to boost my immune system as we approach the winter months. All jokes aside, if I'm being transparent, this was my first full gardening season since having my daughter about a year ago. And while I was really eager to get back in the garden, I think my ambitions really did not align with the realities of motherhood. I had my first daughter about 14 years ago, and I'm going to tell you, motherhood hits different in your 30s. Let's go ahead and look at the medicinal garden. I've been debating if I want to harvest my ashwagandha. I have 2 large plants here, and I think I'm going to. Let me know if you guys want to see a video on that. Ashwagandha, you harvest the root. It's a root medicine. It's very popular in India. It's a plant from India. It is this plant right here. I'd also do some seed saving. All these berries have seeds in them. And if it looks familiar how they have these papery husks on it, these husks are like tomatillo. It's from the same family, actually. So, yeah. But yeah, so I'm thinking I will go ahead and harvest that, and that will give me clear out the bed a bit. I usually dedicate this garden to vegetables, but I want to do passion vine on the arch, butterfly pea on this back trellis here. I just want to do some evening primrose, but I am undecided on where I want to plant that yet because it can be kind of invasive. I don't know if that's really the right term, but yeah, it can be kind of invasive. Once it's there, it's kind of a stronghold. I was thinking about putting it in this bed, which was my pepper bed this year, but we'll see. Maybe I should do it in a bag. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard horror stories of it taking over people's yards. The other time I'm like, not the worst problem to have. Yeah, some chamomile, calendula, butterfly pea. I'm going to do passion vine or passion flower. And then several others. I have a whole bunch of seeds I want to start. As my cover crop is coming in really nicely. In previous seasons, I've only ever cover cropped like mounds of soil that I might have that I want to protect over the winter. But this year, just really had a need to slow down, and it, aligns with fall and kind of a time to be introspective and rest and recover. That's kind of what I'm doing. My bed, my garden beds, and myself both needed a break. So I cover cropped all of the beds, which is great because it's going to be healthier come spring, as this is a nitrogen fixer. And some of these beds, like this bed, I had corn in it, which is a heavy feeder. So it's to its benefit to get a break in there. Some of these beds are starting to wear, which I think is funny. One second. You guys see here, clearly I still have some sweet potatoes that I left behind because the sweet potatoes are growing back in this bed, even though I cover cropped it. And regular potato is growing back here. It's like the temperature finally dropped and everything's resprouting. Got zinnias I didn't plant that volunteered over here. I think last year I ended up having a bunch of sunflowers that showed up in December. It was really sweet. Of course, the frost eventually killed them. But yeah, so I was going to go ahead and just start some chamomile. It's still a little warm out, honestly, to transplant. It's already November. But I'll start the seeds so they can germinate here. And I will probably transplant them out into the garden late November. Just I need it to cool down a bit. But whenever that happens, I will go ahead and transplant them. I'm also going to go ahead and direct sow. I already started some echinacea. I'm going to direct sow some California poppy. And I think I have some prickly poppy as well. I definitely don't have the patience to try and do a couple seeds in each one. So these are just going to be strong survive. Strong survive. Just press it into the soil. This time around, I found balancing caring for a newborn as well as still being present for my oldest while working full time and maintaining a household to be a monumental task, and it really left little room for anything else. This lizard friend, a couple lizards, live back here, and there's a toad Oh, cool, he has blue eyes. There's a toad that lives in this bed. In this pocket over here. Let's see if he's home. He scares the shit out of me sometimes because whenever I water this bed, he comes out. Usually mad at me. I don't see him in there. He hasn't been there in a couple of days. I hope he's okay. I'm assuming he is. I was going to go ahead and plant out my garlic today. And I was like, oh, it's rainy. I don't really want to try to put it into mud. But these, the soil in here is actually pretty dry. So I guess it's going to be a good time. At times, my garden really reflected the chaos that was going on inside the house. Myself and the garden were both surviving on snippets of care during this transition period. But that said, I really was in awe of how well it thrived on neglect. It's kind of a reminder that nature really doesn't need the input of the gardener all the time. I'm not doing anything too fancy. I'm just going to add some fertilizer and maybe a little bit of potting soil on top. Do any of you actually follow the directions on the back of your amendments and fertilizers, like all the precise measuring? Because I'm pretty OCD, but this is one place I don't. Curious if we're all doing that, or is that just me being reckless? I think we're all doing it. That's my theory. Soil is really nice and fluffy. Even though it's dry, it's really fluffy because it's potting soil. You have to use a potting soil mix for these green stalks. Top it off with a little bit of Happy Frog. Fall's arrival really echoes this timeless truth that seasons of rest are not just deserved, but necessary. There's that saying that if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. And that's really what my garden and my body were telling me. This year I'm planting some Romanian reds I got from Botanical Interest. I'm excited to try that. Just a couple elephant ears. These are massive. This is 1 clove of elephant ear garlic. I'm doing 2 of those, and then the rest I'm just doing whites because it's what my local nursery had. I'm going to get in the ground. Some people soak them beforehand. Some people take the papers off. You really don't need to do any of that. Just make sure the root is pointing down, tip up. It'll be fine. It's okay to take this break. I don't need to be productive during this shoulder season. But I had to tell you, the other day I took her out to help me water, and seeing how excited she was, letting her nibble on some lamb's quarters and lemon balm and catnip, it really warmed my heart, and it has me so excited for this upcoming spring. What are you doing? You want to water? It's already rained, honey. It's rained a bunch. We don't need to water. I decided to also plan out my catnip. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but you plan on like, oh, I'm just going to do a few things, and then no one bothers you and makes you come inside, so you keep doing more stuff. This was not on the agenda today, but it'll only take a second, so let's go ahead and get that done too. While I'm out here. Ooh, what's in there? Everyone knows like catnip kind of trips out some cats, gets them high. But it has the opposite effect on dogs. It's actually very relaxing for them. It kind of mellows them out. And it's really good for kind of cranky people and children. It's most often used for like kids that are teething or have colic, things like that. But yeah, it also just works for cranky, whiny adults as well. So, ooh, it's a good one to have. It's a butterfly. I know this video is not like my others, but would love to hear from you guys still. You know, what do you guys like to do in the fall? Do you like to garden through it if you're in a warmer zone, or do you rest and recover? How do you treat your fall season? If you guys would like a video on the ashwagandha or astragalus or other just beautiful root medicines, this is the season for it. So let me know in the comments. And as always, I hope you guys are doing well, and like and subscribe so we can grow, harvest, and heal together.